We just got the best update Sparking Zero has ever seen, but still nobody came back to play. But why? It's because this update dropped entirely too late. Sparking Zero came out 9 months ago, and it maintained about 120,000 players for a good 2 weeks. And then people realized the numerous flaws with this game and just stopped playing. Week by week and month by month, this game lost tens of thousands of players, and Bandai just let it happen. I'm gonna start this video off by saying that I do indeed love Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I like it. Well, love is a strong word. No, I like Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I was excited when it first came out. I'm a big Dragon Ball fan. You can sometimes catch me listening to the Super Saiyan 3 transformation as I'm bench pressing or as I'm running, as I'm doing some type of physical activity, because that's how much I love Dragon Ball. So I'm just go ahead and say that and get that out the way, because a lot of you guys, you see these type of videos and you think, oh yeah, they're just trying to follow the trends of trying to dag on the game, Guys, the game is no longer trending. Me telling you what's wrong with the game is not going to get me a whole ass of views. So let's go ahead and get that out the way. The reason why I'm talking about this game is because I actually like the game, and I would have liked to see this game prosper. But without further ado, let's get that out the way. Boom. So let's talk about the background. What happened when this game first came out? Okay, so when this game first came out, people were thinking this was going to be the sequel to Budokai Tenkaichi 3, right? A party game, creator mode, customization, world tournament, unbalanced, but with competitive modes. Everybody loved this game for a good week. And then that's when we start beginning to see the first big problems that basically counteracted what this game was supposed to be. In fact, one of the main issues with the game is the fact that the game didn't know what it wanted to be. Let's go through it. We had this big giant roster, right? But the fact that every single person that you ran into, or most people that you ran into, were using the overpowered characters in ranked, it basically made the massive roster obsolete. Now think about this for a second, right? This is supposed to be the sequel to Budokai Tenkaichi 3, right? A party game, as people love to keep saying over and over again. Why is it that the party game that came out, the sequel to a party game, one, it doesn't have quick match. It didn't come out with quick match. It didn't have that. All it had was the rooms, and those rooms were pretty much competitive too, because it had kind of the king of the hill system. The more wins you won, the more you got to stay at the top of the leaderboard, basically. Boom. And then we didn't have quick match, so you didn't have a real non-competitive way of playing. You had ranked, and that was about it. So you had rooms and ranked, and that was it. Rooms and ranked, that was it. Now, we did have the little creator things, but those quickly died out because they weren't as sophisticated as we thought they were going to be. What I thought, and this may have been foolish of me to think, was I thought when they had the little custom creator mode things, I thought they were going to have voice acting and this and that, which now with today's technology, I think it's very doable where you could copy people's voices and things like that. I'm almost certain they could have made it so that, oh yeah, the creator mode had voice acting and all this stuff. I feel like it could have been way better than it actually was. Every single match you ran into, you had seen Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, UI Goku, UI Ultra Instinct Goku. And people were just using the hacks and power of these characters just to steamroll their way through the game. And get this, the worst part was, if they started losing, which inevitably they were going to run into a person that was actually pretty decent at the game, they will quit the game and they will get zero consequences. This was one of the two first things that made people fed up with the game. The constant mirror matches, the fact that out of the 180 something character roster, you only seen like 3 characters get played. And only 3 characters were even optimal to even play as. If you call yourself trying to jump into ranked and play as Goku versus Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, bro, you wasn't winning. You're not supposed to win. In fact, if you win, it's because you're really good at the game. Let's talk about how when the game came out, on top of the fact that we barely seen people from the whole roster, and we had all these people rage quitting with no consequences and not losing rank. There were certain YouTubers, I have nothing against y'all, I'm not dropping no names, nothing like that, but there were certain YouTubers dropping straight up exploits, and then after the game died, they abandoned the game. You don't see them playing on the game anymore. Just teaching people quote unquote optimal play. And then when they basically destroy the fun of the game for everybody else because they want to be cheeseheads, they don't want to play the game no more. Let's talk about spammers. This game had so many spammable characters and spammable techniques after Image Strike. Things like that. Imagine this, right? You're actually good at the game. You're playing as any character, really. Let's even say you're playing as an overpowered character. You will lose to a person. Take me, for example. I would lose to people who were spamming because I didn't know how to deal with it. I hadn't got good at vanishing. And when I actually got in the lab and I started getting better and better, people who were spamming started to get easier to beat. But the thing that made things really bad was when you would have people who are good at the game, they know how to play the game. You could tell why they got hands, but they decide to spam just for the rank. And some of these people, they would be like watchdogs. They would sit at the top of the leaderboard and they would just sit up here and spam you to death, make it impossible for you to win. It's like they want nobody else to be Z-rank but them. And meanwhile, you're using a regular character. They're using the best character in the game. They know how to play the game and they're spamming. Makes the game unplayable, makes people don't want to play the game. Who wants to play a game like that? And it took Bandai forever to patch these things. Boosters. Now you had people who actually knew how to play the game and they were using exploits and spamming. But then you had people who were straight up trash. People who would boost their way to the top, right? Boosters kind of go hand in hand with rage quitting guys. They would get all the way to the top ranks by less than legitimate means. And then they would just basically sit there. Or they'll basically like, they'll spam you. You'll realize, dang, this person, they don't know how to play the game. And then you'll beat them. And then this will lead into my second point. Crazy Sparking Zero frauds / psychopaths. All right, y'all. These, and I know psychopaths and crazy Sparking Zero frauds sounds very crazy. And that's because it is. When you play this game, right, you have a bunch of different type of players because not many people play this game anymore. But you had people who were good at the game and they just played it and had fun. That's me. People who were, well, I wouldn't say I'm good at the game. I say I'm pretty decent. I do be losing sometimes, I ain't gonna lie. But you had people who were bad at the game and they had fun. Then you had people who were good at the game, but they talk mad shit, like they're crazy psychopaths. Like they say the wildest shit to you in the messages. And then you had the people who were frauds. The frauds, they were the worst. Because the people who were actually good at the game and they beat you and they talk trash to you, it's like, okay, whatever, yeah. I mean, of course, you won. Fine. But the people who would lose, like, you'll beat them and they'll get so angry, so pissed. It's like, bro, come on, like, you can't be that mad over a video game. Come on. And they'll just say the wildest, most crazy, disrespectful things to you in the messages. And you guys can call me soft or whatever. I don't care. But that's one of the reasons this game, and this goes to show you how toxic this community is. This game is one of the reasons why I turned my messages to just friends. So only my homeboy Blue Fire Hero, Clizzy, all the people who are already my friends on the game, they can message me, they can talk to me, they can invite me to the party. But people like that, like real crazy people who say all type of weird shit, they not allowed to message me. They can't. It's impossible. If they message me, I won't see it. Because after a while, people just keep trying to message you nothing positive, always something negative. It gets to be annoying. And it makes you not want to play the game because you want to play your favorite childhood game, Dragon Ball, your favorite childhood anime game. You play Dragon Ball and then these people, like, they just come up here with this nonsense. Goku would not be proud. Vegeta would not be proud. Dragon Ball Z, to me, I don't know about you guys, Dragon Ball Z is a very inspiring anime. it's kind of the foundation of a lot of my beliefs and a lot of what I grew up basically doing. Me and my cousins, when we was younger, we was basically the Z fighters. Anybody who messed with our little cousins, they got beat up. And we was beating people up. Not to say that it's a good thing, but I always had a strong passion for justice, you feel me? And a strong work ethic. You know, Goku and Vegeta, they taught me that. Not to mention like the real people in my life, like my grandpa, my stepdad, like they always taught me strong work ethic, be organized, you know, be respectful, things like that. But Dragon Ball Z, like it really taught me something, honor, you know, work hard, things like that, good values like that. And it surprises me a lot that certain types of people, these psychopaths, play the same game as me. It's like they don't see Dragon Ball in the same light. When this game first came out, or whenever it was about to come out, they had us under the impression that we was going to have this wide variety of customization. I was thinking this was going to be something along the lines of Xenoverse, where you can get certain costumes, you can change the colors, you can put different costumes on different characters, and da-da-da-da. But it turns out when the game actually came out, you only had but a couple of customizations. And they were mainly for Goku and Vegeta. Goku and Vegeta have the most different types of customization. Everyone else, for the most part, including them, all they have is regular clothes or battle damaged. There's not really that much of customization at all. We have all these customization slots, but nothing in them. Overall, this game was an unfinished concept. It didn't know whether it wanted to be a party game, like people like to keep saying, or a competitive game. It had party game aspects, but ranked aspects as well, with party game elements in it, which those two concepts, they basically fought each other and made the game destroy itself from the inside out. Now, was there a better way of actually making this work? Yes, of course. They could have made party game elements in the game and ranked mode elements and competitive modes as well. All they had to do was say, okay, let's keep the unbalanced parts in quick match. Let's go ahead and put quick match in the game from jump. And let's put the party elements in that. And let's take ranked mode and make ranked mode balanced. That way, there is no room for error. Whoever wins is better. Period, point blank. It's not whoever picked the best character. It's not whoever spammed the most. Whoever wins is better. And had that part of the game balanced from jump. I feel like that's just something pretty easy to do, but who am I? I don't know much about game developing, the actual process of making a game the way it is. But I do feel like certain things should be easy to implement. Now, I will say this. Almost all of those things, apart from the boosting and the spammers, have pretty much been fixed in the game, especially with this latest update. But this update came entirely too late, just like I said. Bandai tried fixing these problems quickly. And a lot of people like to say, okay, why don't they just listen to community? At the beginning of this game, the community did not know what they wanted. You had a bunch of the old heads who say, oh yeah, it's supposed to be a party game. Who cares about being balanced? Neglecting the fact that this party game had a ranked mode. Neglecting the fact that this party game didn't have much party game elements to it, or party game modes to it. Whereas you had people who were more on the competitive scene, they was like, okay, why is this not fixed in ranked? Why is that not fixed in ranked? They start dropping these patches, and I do believe it was kind of difficult for them to listen to the community because of those things, but they started dropping these patches after the damage was pretty much already done. They will have the community happy for a little bit. It will always be short-lived because they basically just gave us breadcrumbs. They didn't really give us all of what we wanted. They just gave us a little bit of what we wanted to keep us satisfied for a little bit. But most people left the game. When I said tens of thousands of players started leaving the game month by month and week by week, that wasn't an exaggeration. If you go to look at the graph of the whole lifespan of this game, it literally goes down from the first day, tens of thousands, tens of thousands, tens of thousands, all the way up to levels around 1,500 players. No fix was ever permanent, and there was always something wrong after they made a patch. There was always something new broken. And I don't know why they felt like they could have waited to fix some things. They basically waited too long and they started to watch the player count plummet. I don't understand it. I've been seeing this trend of people basically saying, okay, well, why shouldn't you be patient? This new generation is patient. Why don't you guys just wait for everything to come out? First of all, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I don't know what generation you're talking about, or you guys who say this are referring to. I'm 23 years old, right? I'm not that old. I'm also not that young. But I will say this. This is a new age, right? This is a new age of gaming and media and internet in general. You can't just release an unfinished game and then not get trashed on. That's not gonna happen. Especially if it's a game that people have wanted for years, or if it's a game that's really close to people's hearts. Think about how they butchered the Arkham series with Suicide Squad Kill Justice League. Think about how they made that game instead of making a Justice League game, right? I'm not saying that the game has to be perfect, right? But it is appalling that a huge corporation like Bandai Namco, partner with Spike Chun, do not have the facilities to make these, in my opinion, from the jump, basic fixes in a more expeditious way. And for you guys who don't know what expeditious means, it basically is a big word that basically means quickly, fast. I feel like there's no way that they couldn't have made these fixes way faster than they actually did, given the amount of resources that they actually have. Sure, the game has been around for only 9 months, but what do you want us to do? Wait a year? 2 years from the start fixing things? It's not like that anymore. This is a new age of gaming. If something's broke, people are not going to waste their time playing a broken game. Especially if you got lives, like if you got a job, you feel me? If you got responsibilities, you got kids and stuff. A grown-ass man would much rather spend time with his wife and playing with his kids than playing some broken-ass game where nothing but a bunch of weirdos sit on the game and it's about BS. Come on, let's be real. And this is not me trying to be negative, but I'm actually trying to give you guys a real life perspective to help you guys understand. You just got home from playing sports. You're tired. You want to hop on the game and have some fun, but you hop on Sparking Zero. It's not but a bunch of weirdos, exploits. You can't even have a fair game. You much rather do something else. Let me tell you guys a little bit of psychology about games in life. The more wins you get, no matter how small they may be, the more likely you are to succeed. The more likely you are to come back for more. The more likely you are to try again. But the more losses you take on, especially if a loss is seemingly out of your control and every single factor is seemingly out of your control, the more depressed you'll get. The more less likely you are to come back for more. And that doesn't just go for life. That goes for gaming too. A game has to find a healthy balance between being fair and fun. Period, point blank. An unfair game is not fun. Even games like Elden Ring or Souls-like games, and I've played those type of games. Sure, they're very difficult, but if you lose, it's because most of the time it is actually a skill issue. It's not because the game cucked you. It's not because some unfair mechanic in the game where somebody chose a better boss to fight you with or something like that. It's because you didn't block the right way. You didn't parry the right way. You didn't dodge at the right time. You wasn't watching the boss's movements to do the right thing at the right time, and you died. And people find that game fun. But it's like Sparking Zero, they couldn't figure out what they wanted to do right here, so they couldn't find that balance, and this is the result. Some people like to claim that every video criticizing the game is trying to be negative. Meanwhile, on Xbox, you cannot play quick match at all, or barely at all. I very rarely am able to find matches on quick match on Xbox, and you know what that tells you? It tells you that nobody's on the game. If you want to have a fight, you gotta hop on ranked. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no tournament mode. There's no quick match. There's no fighting in the rooms, barely, really, if I'm being honest, because nobody's on the game. You feel me? So let's go ahead and cut out all this delusional foolishness about people being negative about the game. This is the truth. And I will preface this again. This new patch is the best patch this game has ever seen. I don't care what no one says. If You talk about this game, this patch is trash. Oh, the game was supposed to be unbalanced. Stop living in the past. The game's not fun the way it was. Look at the facts. Nobody's playing the game. Tens of thousands of players drop this game. Day by day, week by week, month by month. From 120,000 players to 1,500 on average. I barely play the game. If I'm being honest. The only time I really play this game is when I'm trying to get some content for you guys, when I'm trying to get some background footage. And sometimes I just sit up there and fight the computer. You feel me? And this new patch, to be honest, this new patch gave me hope. I was hoping that this new patch will bring a lot of players back. But looking at it, it seemed like it didn't really bring a lot of players back. So I guess I kind of just got my hopes up with that, because this patch, I'm so serious, this patch is the best patch we've ever gotten. I played a few matches and I actually found myself actually having a bit more fun than usual. Games are fair. Whoever is the best wins. And when this patch came out with Chalet and them basically balancing out the game and fixing a lot of those problems in one big patch, I was thinking that I was missing out on something, because I was in the middle of moving to my house. I had just bought a house. I was in the middle of moving. And when I finally do get my Wi-Fi set up, everything's moved to my house, I get my little game room set up, I hop on a game and you can't even hop into ranked. It's just like problems after problems. And I'll leave this video with this. I really am hoping that when they do finally fix ranked, that could be the catalyst for them bringing the game back. That when this is all through, characters like Charlotte could be the catalyst for them adding even more and more and more characters. I'm hoping for that. I want that pretty badly, actually. But usually when a game dies, it doesn't come back to life. Or at least I haven't seen that so far, as long as I've been covering video games on YouTube. But let me know in the comments if you guys think otherwise, if you believe that this game can actually come back, if we could get to a more healthy player count, something like 10,000, 15,000, maybe even 20,000, 30,000, I'm hoping. But I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to give you guys the facts. I'm trying to let you guys know, like, why this game is the way it is now, how it got here. I literally took y'all step by step. So if I don't want to hear nothing in the comments about, oh, you're being negative, oh, be different. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.